Hi guys, this is Mike from the Comic Book Syndicate. We are here with Bex Luthor and Kev N. We just saw the Justice League.
I love this movie. It's so much fun. Like, I was smiling the whole time.
I was smiling a lot too, but it was more when I was laughing at the film. Mostly. Was there not a lot of awkward dialogue in this movie, Becca? Like, okay, I'm wondering who in the Christ wrote this dialogue?
You said that like it explains why there's a total stranger sitting in the dark in my second favorite chair.
Okay, don't get me wrong, there were some great moments in this movie. I can only assume they're the ones that Joss Whedon wrote, because the overall main plot of the film, the 85% that was left over from Snyder's cut, not only was the dialogue bad, okay, I just want to point out something, okay? This movie did not actually have a story. Can I say that? Yes, I understand that the plot was supposed to be that there's these 3 mother boxes that Steppenwolf has to get together. But other than that, did he really overcome anything to get them? Did the superheroes, were there any twists in that main plot? Was there anything that happened unexpectedly in the way that they found them? And I also got to point out, when they get the last mother box, oh look, he's got the mother box anyway. Like, it was like practically an afterthought. What the hell was that, Kevin?
Well, I think it was kind of a first part of a larger story. But the thing that you're right, I think they started to rush things because they were trying to explain. They had 6 characters and, newer ones, and they wanted to get into their backgrounds. But even when they were explaining it first, I said, okay, all right, got an idea here. There's 3 of them. But when he said, they had the Atlanteans and then what was it, the Amazons, I thought, oh my God, I felt like it was a Lord of the Rings little style, the 3 rings, where they all come together and then they fight an historical battle and then they come back kind of thing. So I felt that a little bit.
So you like that, Becca?
Yeah, the battles in Lord of the Rings are some of the best.
No, but in this movie, what about
great,
in this movie?
I just found it was similar.
The 5,000 years ago battle where everyone's fighting and there's gods and there's lanterns, spoilers, and there's like the badass Atlanteans showing up, but all the Amazons and like the old school humans. No, that was badass and it looked beautiful.
Okay, but look,
the fight scenes are so badass.
Can I just say that when it cut to the part where Wonder Woman was like, Steppenwolf, blah, 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 and it was like all this exposition, that to me was bad. That was like, I know that they did in Lord of the Rings, I didn't like it there either, but whenever you have to cut to a character explaining things to the audience, it's not really ideal. I really wish that would have been shown in like a prologue at the beginning or something, but I just thought it was really awkward how they had to explain that in like 2 minutes. But okay, by the way, this is Steppenwolf. Didn't you think that was awkward?
I didn't mind. They were trying to explain a little bit about it and try to connect. I don't know, there was parts of just, I've seen that before. Yes. I've seen that area. It could have been a little bit more original in some of those parts.
I'd rather just see hints of what happened so that it can hopefully amount to something more later on.
I feel like if you did that, though, because like when you do that in Star Wars, it's because, it's Luke's story. But there's 6 people's story. I feel like in order to get everyone who deserves some exposition on screen, like you're introducing Cyborg, you're introducing Aquaman, you're introducing the Flash into this universe for the first time, you gotta make some cuts. And I mean, Marvel's been doing subpar villains for the last 10 years and we like them.
Well, we like some of them. I like Loki. Speaking of 6 characters, didn't you feel at the first half of the movie like
no.
it was just okay, set up Cyborg, set up Aquaman, set up Flash, and it almost felt as bad as Suicide Squad, where all these scenes setting up characters, but it's not a story. It's just.
I thought that was better, and I found the pace was a bit better. They were trying to build these characters a bit, and I have to say, I know you'll be shocked, but for the most part, I actually enjoyed this movie, and because of some of that stuff, I started to like the characters and there was a little bit more depth. It is a challenge because you're right. It was very set, like step one, step. And it reminded me of back in the Golden Age and Silver Age. That's how they did a lot of their storytelling. They would separate them into these independent little stories and then bring them all back together. And I don't know if that works as well in a movie versus a comic book. So I could see where you're saying it might be a few, it's choppy. But I don't know. I felt that wasn't too bad in terms of what I've seen before when you're trying to explain so many superheroes.
Don't get me wrong. It was obviously better than Suicide Squad, but I think I just felt like the way this movie is, which is how a lot of blockbusters are nowadays, is everything is sort of just shoved together. Like, let's throw in Martha Kent talking to Lois Lane just to explain what's been going on.
There was enough parts there I got, okay, I get it. He died, all these things that happen. And it got to that kind of, kind of cornball. It slowed it down. It didn't need to at that point. And I thought, get that out of there. We get it. It's a superhero team. You want to keep it moving. Sure, you need to slow it down some pace, get a little characterization, but it was so unnecessary. So some of those parts, they were like, pull them out. But I didn't mind the Aquaman part. I mean, it could have been a little bit better, but I think they were trying to somehow connect that. And that was maybe a little sloppy of connecting where the parademons and how they're associated. Because it was a little bit like, why is that happening? But then they were, he had the green on him and everything. So
No, but here's the thing: is you can do that, but
yeah.
those scenes have to amount to something. They have to accomplish something. And I don't think these scenes, because you could feel, just like you said, the movie grinds to a halt and you feel the story stop so that we can have them like almost like wax poetic about Clark and Hope and Superman. It really irked me. And the thing is, I think we're so used to it that we accept it as part of movies now, as part of blockbusters, but it doesn't mean it's a good thing. It's not well done. And I think we're just used to it and we shouldn't be.
I thought it was sweet. I don't know. It's just because you're feeling the effects of the world that lost Superman, but how about that was supposed to symbolize like the effects of the people who lost Clark, right? That he wasn't just Superman. I liked it. I thought it was sweet.
Okay.
I think they did enough of it though in the beginning, and it's the whole thing where
that intro,
the visuals that alone I was able to understand. It's just like a good comic book. You have a good artist on it that can tell that from panel to panel. You sometimes don't even need the words. You get the story. So they were trying to do that background a little bit with them, and you're right. I didn't need afterwards that extra dialogue. I got it. I move on. Like you didn't, and I know they were trying to maybe the challenge again. 6 heroes trying to do backstories in them, and some of you have to go. You know what? It's not Superman's turn. We did a little bit at the beginning. Let's just get him back into the storyline in terms of he's needed. We want him in that in the fights, and he's part of the Justice League. Because I think, when you start to get too many of those little pieces, the momentum, we lose it, I find.
Well, here's the thing. I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes in the movie was actually when Superman fights the Justice League. Because for all this, let's bicker back and forth about Superman can destroy anyone. He's obviously the most powerful character, and it was so satisfying to see him kick the shit out of every member of the Justice League. Spoiler alert, when the Flash is running, when he's traveling faster than light, and Superman looks at him.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
It was awesome. That was so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the parts I really liked.
Okay, there were some, can we talk about some of the cool parts of this movie?
Yes.
Where when Barry's running, and I know this was in the trailer, but it was so satisfying, the movie, and he knocks Wonder Woman's sword back to her, and it's beautiful. I love that. And one of my favorite things was, even though Superman kicked the shit out of everybody, everyone still had a point to being there.
Yeah.
Especially in the end fight, there was even powerless Batman. There was a reason he was there. There was everyone played their part and played it well.
I have to say the graveyard scene. I chuckled at that.
I was laughing.
That was
Becca.
amazing.
I was laughing.
No, it was so funny.
I looked over at you, Becca, and I was like, "This is insane."
I loved it. Okay, I think it fit that to those two characters really well. It's okay, so who's gonna dig up Superman? The new guys, the weirdos. Let's have them dig up Superman, and it gave them a bonding moment, and they were so cute together.
It was good.
They were so.
But I'm saying
cute.
The fact that they were digging Superman out of his grave was.
It was bizarre. I think it was insane.
How they gonna get him out? How else would you get him out?
I just thought, I don't know. It's Superman. I thought he'd at least be in a tomb,
No, because it was Clark.
I know.
Because they weren't digging up Superman's grave. Superman had an empty grave. They were digging up Clark's grave, where he was just a man.
And it was kind of. I think they were making a joke about it, okay, well, what do? We have to get a dead body. How do we get the body out?
Yeah.
It's not any fancy powers. They're just there digging them up.
It.
So
It's I could do it faster.
it was weird and bizarre, but I think that was the intent of it. So I kind of chuckled at that. I like that. And I have to say the one thing I want to say from the Superman movie with Henry Cavill, I didn't care for it.
It's okay.
Sorry, Henry.
It's okay. No one did.
Captain Hunkules, that's his name.
But the one thing I liked is while in the battle with Steppenwolf, Batman tells him about how Flash is taking care of the citizens and civilians. He says, no, he needs help. And he stops as a true Superman.
Yes.
Real Superman.
And he carries a flipping building across the way. And that to me is the real Superman. Not like in the old movie that when Metropolis is blowing up, he goes and saves one fisherman in the water.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Okay, when he was carrying that building, do you know what I heard in my soul?
It was
so good.
Just genuine too, because it was that felt like something that I would read in a comic. Is in the middle of the big battle, Superman is oh crap, cat in a tree, gotta go.
Exactly.
And when?
That's what
and
I'm
he's
here for.
that's the whole point of Superman is that it was. I think this was the best Henry Cavill's done of Superman, and I really liked him in the other movies. But I really felt it in this one. The confusion of who he was when he came back, the intimate moments with him and Lois felt really real, more so than the other movies. And then him seeing his mom was so genuine, and I love Martha Kent. Like, I love who plays her. I love her.
I
She's
love her
great.
too.
Yeah, I can't buy the Lois. I'm sorry. I'm just
No,
not.
I don't like it. Amy Adams has to go.
And,
She's
and
out.
No,
She's
no
done.
offense. I don't know what it is. It's just not. There's something with the character I'm just not getting with this one. But
Yeah, as my friend Jordan says, Amy Adams insists on herself.
Did you guys see Arrival?
Yeah, she was okay in that. Good
In that
movie,
movie.
but okay. Let's talk about
So
Superman's colors, blue and red, like he's supposed to be in the comics.
and blue and red, then scarlet and royal blue.
Exactly. Solid.
The
basic-
colors in this movie, like
were better.
Cyborg, bright, shiny,
Yep.
red and blue, like contrasting. The Flash, bright red streaks of like blue lightning everywhere. Even Diana's like toned down outfit from the Wonder Woman movie was reflecting light, and she
Yep.
was this shining beacon. And
Aquaman was greenish and orangish, sort
but
of.
you had
I
your
thought
variations,
it
yeah.
fit
Yeah.
Aquaman to be a little more of like the earthy tones and everything.
yeah, it did. I was a little worried myself. I'm like, oh, they're trying to make him so dark and sinister. And I actually say he was entertaining. And it was so cool seeing the water scenes. Finally, someone, I think they were getting the Aquaman part right. Poor, in Super Friends, they destroyed the poor character, and everyone thinks he's a lame character. I love Aquaman. I think he's cool as hell, and he's a badass. He's tough. So it was great to see him that way, and I thought it was great. And some of his lines were great in the movie. I
Oh,
felt.
Aquaman was my favorite character. He was the funniest. He was the coolest.
Honestly, I think we're all gonna die.
I mean, obviously Wonder Woman's my favorite, but Aquaman's my second favorite.
New
Put it there.
the favorite new character.
The favorite new character.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, everyone's favorite character is Wonder Woman.
yes.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
amazing.
she's perfect. Gal Gadot, perfect.
Yes,
but
she
like,
is.
I think I came into this movie thinking I was gonna fall in love with Aquaman, and I did, but in a sense of like, I want to go get a beer with Aquaman. I want to marry Ray Fisher, Cyborg.
He's pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
He was. I don't know, but he.
so heart-wrenching and sweet and booyah and just my childhood, everything in one man, and I loved
But
it.
here's the thing: we've read the old Marv Wolfman, George Perez Teen Titans. Cyborg didn't have the pathos. He was always kind of sparring with Changeling or Beast
Beast
Boy.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess this is sort of the newer version of Cyborg, which I'm fine with. He was great.
Yeah.
I like the older '80s design. I didn't like how his chest was kind of like
This is like
see-through or
yeah.
They
like
fixed it at the
concave.
end. Did you see
yeah,
that?
yeah. He got the symbol that, by the way, Bruce Wayne already had on a hard drive in Batman vs Superman.
Oh,
Remember?
that's because Lex Luthor made it. Duh.
Okay, yeah. So anyway,
duh. Let me just move my hair because my boy, right here, this boy.
Steppenwolf in the comics, he's red and brown. In this movie, he's gray and gray.
He's red.
Is he?
He's bright red.
Steppenwolf?
He's
What,
glowing
what
red.
movie?
He was grayish.
He was grayish red. The
He had a different
parademons in the comic are green.
They had green goo.
I didn't mind them. It was
In this
an
movie, they're
interesting
gray and
take.
gray.
I didn't mind them. They weren't bad. I have to say though, one thing we were forgetting is I thought they did a great job with the creativity of their powers. They used them various,
Yes,
and because
yes.
parts were Barry's flashes. You know what? I'm going to take a super run and I'll help ignite it. Like there was just neat things. Cyborg doing some neat things. There was great scenes where they show like. I'm not big on Ben Affleck as the Batman, but not when he's not talking or he's not Bruce Wayne, I can deal with it. But he swings down and he kicks a guy like with his,
Yes.
there's just
And
a
the
lot of
cape
things, yeah,
floating.
and I mean everything Wonder Woman does is amazing. All the fight scenes with her, like it's really cool.
When she was like stopping all those bullets, like
Just everything
with,
they
like
do
in a
with it,
row.
they just got a great job with it. And I go, wow. And then Superman, come on, he comes flying in, he starts pounding the guy, Steppenwolf, and he shoots his heat. I mean. Everything was just like coming in super
I know.
badass. Superman.
the
Frost
heat vision
breath.
and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
super
Yeah,
breath.
frost-
Oh,
the
so
frost
good.
breath. It was
Well,
perfect.
I think it's just called super breath, isn't it?
I thought it was frost breath.
I don't think so.
I mean, it seemed frosty this time.
Yeah.
Frosty
It's
super
usually
breath.
frosty.
Okay, so let's talk about final thoughts on Justice League, guys. This is an example of a good director coming in and taking a bad director's movie, reshooting, re-editing, and making something that's sort of a hodgepodge of two different movies. I do like it, but you can see that he only had, like, look what he had to work with, right? So it's obviously not as good. I don't think it's as good as the Avengers movies. It's nowhere near as good as, Buffy.
You said it's hodgepodge. I think you can see that they now when you mention that, and I forgot about that, he came in and stuff, is that you can tell there's things they're trying to fix. Because it'll be a nice pace or a little great flowing in, a stupid line will come in,
Yeah.
or just not a part I didn't care for, and be like, oh, you just had it going perfectly, and then you would kind of throw it off. Where the Avengers movie, I agree, it flowed pretty well. Okay, I think there was some attempts to fix parts which will probably save the movie, and there are parts where it's entertaining, but there are parts I find you're gonna go ugh, with it. So that's my thing. Yeah.
Well, you know, I love this movie, and I love everyone in it. Everyone's amazing. Jeremy Irons is so cute in this movie. Adorable Alfred. No, but like a real opinion, I'm obsessed with this movie. I was having so much fun in the theater. Like, my comic book dreams were coming true of, like, things look like splash pages from panels, like, straight out of it. Like, when Batman would swing in and the backdrop was, like, oh, it was so pretty. And there were just some moments, like the banter between Cyborg and Aquaman and the Flash.
Good.
So good and so genuine. And I feel like the actors, besides maybe Ben Affleck, really wanted to be there and really wanted to be who they were. But just... it felt like everyone was having fun.
And it was the first time I found that a DC movie where I found a little bit more lighthearted than Marvel has been really doing that with the humor, trying to, you know, there's serious parts, but then just enough to lighten up the tone. Where I found a lot of the DC movies have been, I don't know, just personally been dark. And Superman, and really turned me off in terms of the way they portrayed him at that one. So yeah, I think that helps a lot with the way they you can see they're trying to put a little bit more and a variety in the characters. So now everyone's is like Batman. Okay, we don't all need Batman movies, people.
We don't
okay?
need 6 Batmans, right? Exactly, you're right.
Variety.
Yeah, everyone was very different. Like, even Aquaman, who was like a dude bro douchebag kind of, was not like Batman's brooding, right?
No, it wasn't as dark. Yeah.
No.
you're
And
right.
then Cyborg's comedy was different than the
Yeah,
Flash's comedy, which
yeah.
is goofy, and Cyborg was more like witty and like really intellectually thought out jokes and everything. And then obviously Gal Gadot is just perfect in everything.
And everything. Yeah.
But I found the tone, like, that was the problem I had with Thor Ragnarok. But I found the tone in this one was, like, consistent. Even in, like, some of the more serious scenes, they did, like, tone it back a little bit. Like, when Steppenwolf is killing all the Amazons, like, which was another scene I really, really loved, the contrast of the parademons and Themyscira and everything. I just thought it just flowed really nice, like, the visuals and everything in the movie. And, like, they kept the theme of, like, the theme of hope. Like, at the beginning of the movie starts out and it's basically like almost a fairy tale. It tells you what you're gonna learn from this, and like you learn to not give up hope. And it was true throughout. The whole theme of Superman, of even Batman not giving up on Superman, was so sweet. And he's like, I don't not like you, like stuff like that.
That was a great line.
Stuff like that. It's like, just because I'm dark and brooding and an asshole doesn't mean I don't like you. Like, we're friends. We're actually best friends. Do you want to come over later? Like, Alfred would make sandwiches. Like, we hang out in the Fortress of Solitude. Like, talk about our girlfriends and stuff. Like, it was charming. The movie was very charming, and I'm gonna go see it again.
Okay, I'm gonna see this movie maybe one more time in my life. Kevin, how many times are you gonna see this movie?
No, I'm good. I'm done.
Okay, Becca, how many times are you gonna see this movie?
I already have 2 more tickets bought for this movie, for this
Have you seen it
weekend.
at least 2 more times?
At least 2 more times in the theaters.
You know, I really hope in the next movie they introduce Gypsy, and then maybe in Justice League 3 they can bring in Pieface.
You're gonna have to censor that.
Anyway.
You can't just say slurs on the internet.